This podcast is brought to you by Hulu Plus. Watch your favorite shows anytime, anywhere with Hulu Plus. On your TV or on the go with your smartphone or tablet. Shows like Family Guy, Once Upon a Time, New Girl, Scandal, and more. Right now you can try Hulu Plus free for 2 weeks when you go to huluplus.com/roosterteeth.
You're watching Screenplay. I'm your host, JJ, and I was totally on time. Today we've got Mr. Blaine Gibson,
Hello.
Mr. Adam Ellis,
Hi.
and Chris Demarais. And you today, are you an archaeologist? What is your
I'm a DJ.
Vinyl or laptop?
Laptop. I'm a hit
course.
DJ.
You ever watch the DJs at parties and they're spinning all those knobs and shit? And
See-
you're like, you know they're not doing anything.
Totally.
Some of them are doing stuff. And it's, some of them
you
are
got,
working
Chris?
hard.
DJ CD.
DJ CD. Oh, I
like-
see that.
Go home, Chris.
Yeah.
No, I saw a video on YouTube where it was like a
There's a
DJ.
few of those.
Yeah, and the DJ was like doing all this stuff, and then like the camera like tilts down and looks at his control, like his board,
And it's
none
not
of it's
plugged in.
plugged in.
Oh, well,
He's just like,
There's a really funny picture. I think it was Justin Bieber's Instagram or something, and it was like just mixing some tracks today at the studio, and it was him on his laptop, and he had headphones on, and he was looking all badass, but the headphones weren't plugged in. Like,
what a douche.
it's the little things. We're also joined by our intern Andy in the video store. Andy, sound off, say hello.
Hello, I'm back, and I'm not Gus. I'm sorry.
Oh, that was a bummer.
I know.
Way let
Views
us
declined.
down.
Thanks.
You can totally make up for it if you give us the quote of the week right now.
All right. It is, I'll have 4 fried chickens and a Coke. That's
I'll
it.
have 4 fried chickens and a Coke.
This is really familiar.
Remember to give who said it and from what movie.
All right, if you know the answer, tweet us, #RT Screenplay, and we'll be naming the winner.
Oh, I
later on the
know.
show.
He's from Game of Thrones, where he's talking about the chickens. Yeah, I knew it.
Oberyn.
Nailed it.
It's Prince Oberyn right before.
We've got a while, right? Game of Thrones is coming up. I remember some people are upset that Brant and Hodor will not be in this season.
Oh,
They're
Yeah.
diverging a lot, though, apparently. Like, there's going to be new storylines about new people that we don't know about.
Do you know that they announced season 7?
What season are we on now?
5?
Well, I mean,
No.
when
But they announced that they're making season. I mean,
is that
even-
a surprise? I mean, there's
Well,
a book
no.
series,
the fact that the books may not even be out by then. You know.
so they might be like milking it, doing some kind of side stories.
But George R.R. Martin kind of gave him the rundown about what the overall plot line's going to be.
apparently, yeah. The ending of the book series, in case he kills over, is known.
My only concern is, as someone who read the books first, it's like I don't know if I want to see what happens on the show before I read it in the book. Does that make sense?
I'm the
Like,
exact opposite. I think
Yeah?
I started watching the show before I read any of the books, and I've only
see,
listened to the first book.
how are people who read the book supposed to be smug if they, about what happens
Jesus.
That's my
if the
favorite.
books haven't come out?
That's my favorite quote. Is I've seen like on Tumblr and Facebook and stuff. It's like, how do you know which one of your friends have read the Game of Thrones books? Oh, they'll tell you.
Yeah.
Chris is definitely one of those
True.
guys.
I mean, it's entirely true.
I mean, I probably will never read Game of Thrones books, but I do plan on catching up on the series before the next season, hopefully, because I know that's the big thing. I've seen 2 episodes,
oh,
but
fuck.
it's fucking great. It's just I don't have time.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So this weekend at the box office, Interstellar came in a close second to Big Hero 6, which I've seen both movies. I saw Big Hero 6 last week as part of a press screening, and then I went and saw Interstellar last night, the Bob Bullock, the real IMAX experience. So that was really cool, seeing it done in 70 millimeter. One thing they don't tell you, if you don't know, if you see it in a real, there's a lot of people saying IMAX, but if you really see it at a real IMAX theater, like the museum type of theaters, when it switches from 35 millimeter to 70 millimeter, there's a ratio change. Like
Oh, it's jarring.
It's letterbox, and then it's literally the entire IMAX screen.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not so bad, but sometimes like around the blast off scene, it's like back and forth, back and forth.
Oh, really?
I went to Barton Creek Mall and they have IMAX, but it's not really IMAX.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that was in Batman too. They have some scenes filmed in IMAX, but like I think there was the scene where they're flashing between what McConaughey's doing and then what Murph is doing back on Earth, very intercut, and he was just like, wah, 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 wah.
Yeah.
What's the standard difference between IMAX and what fake IMAX is?
I think there's a cropping involved, right? I would imagine there's got to be a cropping. There's no way.
It's okay. I think is it 16:9 is like standard, and then
Standard
IMAX is
widescreen.
like a little bit.
It's
I'm not
almost
sure what
like,
the ratio is.
Like the 70 millimeter on the IMAX almost feels like a square frame. Like it's very filling. But no, it was really cool. It was cool to see it on film. I want to talk about Interstellar, but it's still too new for our audience. Some of them haven't seen it yet.
I've not seen it.
But and Blaine and I both seen it. It was good.
I really
good.
enjoyed it. And it's one of those ones I haven't seen Inception in years. It's because I purposely am sitting on it, and I'm just like want to kind of forget it so I can re-experience the whole thing. I wish I could forget that movie and then see it again because it was so fun just getting that universe.
All I'm going to say about it is that I really enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the ideas of it. It was definitely a little bit 2001 light, almost kind of. I think Brandon said that it was like 2001 light, like a little easier to swallow.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't like versus Prestige and Inception is I feel like Nolan used to just put the movie and the ideas out there and then let you figure it out and repeat viewings and kind of be like, oh, this is why this is this.
This one they're holding their hands.
And then I felt like with Interstellar, like he really held the audience's hands and like over-explained things. Like, well, this is exactly what's happening on right here. And it was kind of a little bit much for me. I felt like you didn't need to over-explain it. But visually great.
So Matthew McConaughey is an astronaut farmer.
Yeah.
Right?
There's been other movies like that, I think.
He's like
movie.
astronaut farmer scientist.
Yeah.
I was talking to Marquis, and he's like, "Man, McConaughey was very McConaughey in the first 30 minutes."
All right.
Yeah, he's totally.
He had his mouth
I was
open.
growing some crops.
There was a scene where he was
burning the crops.
He was
playing
talking
bongos.
to this teacher and another professor, and they were like listing off his accolades, and they're like, "Listen, McConaughey, you're an engineer and a scientist," and he's like, "And a damn good pilot," or something. I was like, yeah.
Well, it's funny.
I drink a lot of beer too.
I found some really crazy similarities to Contact, which was that Jodie Foster.
Oh
movie.
yeah, I was wondering about that too. He was in it. He was in, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a dumb movie.
Well, no, it's actually a really good movie. I think Carl Sagan had a lot to do with writing or putting that movie together.
It was a little like the whole fake
the ending where they're like the aliens were really your dad, but it's not really. Like they're taking the form of your dad, so you can understand. You've never seen Contact?
No, but I feel like you're spoiling the ending to Interstellar.
No.
Are the aliens really their dad in Interstellar?
No. So, anyways, going off of that, Neil deGrasse Tyson, who is always very critical of movies involving space, has been tweeting and saying good things about Interstellar. So, if that means anything to you, I would recommend you go see it.
Science approved.
Science approved. Well, one of my favorite things is when Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's like a Reddit hero and a big internet superhero, I guess, came out and said that the star constellation in Titanic at the end, whenever Rose and Jack are under the they're like, oh, it was actually incorrect, Jim. And so James Cameron, it's almost like a fuck you.
Yeah.
Like when he re-released it in 3D and years later, he fixed digitally the star so it makes sense. And that's
a victory
Do you
for
think
Tyson.
Do you think Neil deGrasse Tyson does that stuff so that he gets hired on as a consultant for the movies now?
I think he does it now just so people remember that he's around. I mean, he's awesome, but he's become kind of like this internet, like every now and then something science happens. You're like, well, what do you think, Neil deGrasse Tyson?
He's
yeah,
like
science.
like the new Bill Nye, but Bill Nye's
still
Bill
very
Nye.
much the old Bill Nye.
Yeah.
So going back in Interstellar, so what was really interesting about this is Chris Nolan loves film. He always shoots at prime lenses. That's why he's never done 3D. He even did some 3D tests for Inception, decided against it. But so he went out and he I think the film came out 2 days earlier if you had a film projector at your theater. So a bunch of people started bringing back their film projectors or renting out projectors just to get that Interstellar money. And what I've been reading over the internet, on Reddit, and just different people's experiences all in all, is that like some of the IMAX screenings and some of the film screenings like were kind of crappy projections because you have these projectors who for the past couple of years have been used to digital, just pushing a button and lining up a queue. And now they've got to do things by hand and do it the old manual way. So either focuses have been out of focus or like sound has been shitty. So that's kind of that's a crappy result to what could have been a really love for film kind of thing.
Yeah. Like rewarding the theaters that are kind of still doing it old school, and then it just kind of bites.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's weird. It's going to get to the point where like that's going to be like a crazy talent to be able to run a projector. Like, it's a very small margin at this point.
Kind of in that same vein, I noticed. Okay, I loved Interstellar. It's awesome, but there was some pretty glaring issues. Sound design being one of them. I understand it's in space and it's devoid of noise, but man, it was very minimal. And it almost
the
like
music or just the
like there was points where it was just silence.
Well, there's no sound in space. Blaine.
I understand that, but like I
No
still
one
think
can hear
they could have
you
filled it.
scream.
I don't know, but I was irked by that. But also, he always does these like really steady, like he pushes in on really dramatic moments, and focus was just like it's there. and then they're out of focus,
And it's
like the
gone.
plane of focus would be back here, and that happened a lot, and that kind of bothers me too.
I can see that. I read this thing on the internet where they were saying that the score that Chris Nolan, instead of giving Hans Zimmer like rough cuts or story or a script, he gave him an envelope with one page, which was like a fable, like this, like the kind of quick and condensed version of what Interstellar was trying to do. Not so much the movie itself, but like the idea it was trying to convey. And he just gave that to Hans Zimmer and said, whatever comes out, So
He rocked it.
Well, that's weird because like he made music to an idea and then they applied it to a movie.
It worked. It worked perfectly.
It was definitely darker than I expected it to feel. Anyway, we're
Yeah.
in a territory where only two of us know what's going on. I want to say I had a really weird experience at the Interstellar situation last night. It's because Bob Bullock, as you guys know, it's right near UT.
Yeah.
So it was all college kids. It was all college kids, and I had this group of like kind of frat boys and frat girls, like three of them in front of me.
Yeah.
And they started letting all their friends cut. And to the point where they had like a second line going, and I was sitting there in my head, I'd already like come up with the whole thing, being like, if one more person adds to your group, you guys are in college, do you not know what a line is? Come on! Like I was ready, and I lost my balls. I was gonna totally scream at them. And we have a very good-looking guy with crazy hair joining us right now. It is Joel Heyman, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Joel. All right.
You have to keep this on your head.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank
Those
you.
who didn't hear, Joel
Thank you.
commanded that.
Snowpiercer. Is it Snowpiercer reference?
It's totally a Snowpiercer
Yeah.
reference. The shoe on the head.
Yeah.
So Adam has to hold this on his head for the rest
It's good.
of the.
It's good.
So the shoe
podcast.
on the head is also a Snowpiercer reference, but it's also a 4chan reference. If you
It is. Back in the day of camp. Should we talk about this?
No, we can't. Maybe we shouldn't.
Basically, put a shoe in your head.
But Joel actually, our very own Joel Heyman, was begging us to be on the show today, and we
Put
said,
it back on. Put it back on.
and we said, sorry, Joel, it's Ellis. It's got to be. This is so weird. I feel
All
like
right, let's move on. Let's just forget about the paper towel.
He's gonna sit there the whole rest of the show, just making sure that it stays on his head.
so. It's been a big talking point since DC announced all their spin-off movies and everything, and we always talked about how they probably weren't going to ever replace the Joker, or at least it'd be a while. But this week they announced that Margot Robbie, who's the very, very beautiful wife to Leonardo DiCaprio in The Wolf of Wall Street, is going to be Harley Quinn in the Suicide Squad film. And now they're saying that even though he wasn't in the original draft, the Joker, they're thinking about adding the Joker into that movie. And right now it's looking like Jared Leto.
Yeah.
After Dallas Buyers Club, I'd rather see Jared Leto as Harley Quinn.
He was a magnificent woman.
He was.
He's a pretty lady.
Margot Robbie's really
She is.
attractive.
Oh, yeah,
and I think she'll blow it out of the park because she had a very Jersey accent in that, and that's what Harley Quinn kind of does.
Yeah.
So like
Mr. J.
seeing Harley Quinn come to real life, I think that's gonna be cool.
Well, it's interesting because I think Margot Robbie, who's going to be playing Harley Quinn, and the Wolf of Wall Street, she has that Jersey accent. She's like she's Austrian or Australian or something. So
Australian, I think.
she sold that Jersey
They're
accent
totally
in that
different.
movie. So I really believe in her as far as like, because if Harley Quinn not only has a very distinctive look, she has a very distinctive voice, and the video games have kind of hammered that in especially. So I really believe this chick will knock it out of the park.
What do you think about her in relation to Jared Leto?
Like, who would I kick
Like,
out?
how do you think they'll work together as a
Yeah, chemistry-wise?
Oh, I don't know. Jared Leto is he's kind of pretty. He's a pretty boy.
It's interesting because
Jordan Catalano?
He's Jordan Catalano, Mike so-called
they
live.
said Jared Leto is the Joker, and it was just kind of accepted. I think it's now at the point where it's like people are opening their minds more to casting decisions.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of cool with it. Because like Jared Leto, they announced that he was for Dark Knight, people would have lost their shit, but now it's like it's cool.
We'll see.
He's a talented guy.
He's
Yeah,
fucking
he is.
talented.
I think
everything he's in
people
is really good.
I think people would rather live in a world where there is a Joker rather than a world where we're just not going to touch that idea anymore.
That's a good point.
It's been a while.
So what are your thoughts on just them doing a Suicide Squad movie as a standalone?
I'm just curious if this whole DC thing's going to keep up. You know what I mean?
Marvel?
Especially with Marvel.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how this Batman Superman movie does, and after that, all these little spin-offs and standalones. It's gonna be an interesting take on that.
Yep.
Let us know on Twitter what you think about the new casting choices. Jared Leto as Joker. Can the 30 Second to Mars frontman, can he fill the void of Heath Ledger, or do it in his own style? What do you think? Let us know in the comments on YouTube or via Twitter.
Going off of the whole like building a universe, we were talking some shit about Sony and how they're just milking the Spider-Man bullshit. Like it's It's
Well, because we're talking about this Aunt May thing. Okay, so a couple weeks ago, I was already kind of bitching about Sony and how all they have is the Spider-Man property to Marvel. So they keep milking it. Instead of letting the rights go back to Marvel and letting Spider-Man be in the Avengers, they're doing their own universe. They're doing their Sinister Six movie. So everyone's trying to do like this X-Men, Marvel's like big, scope of movies. And now Sony, to me, this is scraping the barrel, man. They're like talking about doing a standalone movie about Aunt May. An Aunt May prequel. An Aunt May prequel. That's enough to make the paper fall off Gilby's head.
Oh, yeah.
Put it back on.
But for one, Aunt May's not even really a superhero. I mean, she's not.
They've explored.
She's a superhero to me.
Well,
They've explored Parker's mom and dad as being spies or agents for S.H.I.E.L.D. I am not too savvy on like all the comic book stuff, but this is the first I've heard of Aunt May being a spy or anything like that.
Have they talked about what the storylines would be?
Dude, it would be ridiculous. I mean, and there was that whole scene in Spider-Man 2 where it concentrated on the parents and the plane going down and the big fight and the pilot, and you're like, why are we even here?
Where's Spider-Man?
What movie am I watching?
But okay. Oh, so go ahead.
I mean, Aunt May, maybe she's got some untapped skills that we don't know about.
All right. The thing is you're taking something, and this is the same complaint I have about Gotham. It's like this is a Batman. It's in the Batman universe, and you're taking the best thing about it away. It's like it's Aunt May. They might as well just make like a female spy movie set in the '60s and not even have anything to do with Aunt May.
It would be dumb. And
She's supposed to be like the normal thing, right?
Yeah.
It's Spider-Man's like the superhero, and that's supposed to be his normal. Like he goes home and then he has to act normal.
and
around
there'll be nods to like Oscorp and Vulture and weird little
Absolutely,
Easter eggs,
yeah.
but it's like it's a little ridiculous to me. I mean,
Is this just an
Schmidt's
idea they're
bin.
floating around? Or is this going to happen?
yeah, this is an idea they're floating around.
But and then there's also oh Jesus, I forgot. No, you're going on. Sorry.
So anyway, yeah, there's that Aunt May movie. Everyone let Sony know that it's a bad idea because it's. I mean, they're not even.
They know it's a bad idea.
They're doing a mediocre job at best with their Spider-Man series, but to come off and do an Aunt May movie.
Just remember the joke I was going to say. So, like in Spider-Man 2, one of the like side stories was Aunt May going night shift as a nurse, and she's trying to keep it private from Peter. It's like she's the most uninteresting kid.
She's got a night job.
Yeah. like,
Okay.
All right,
Joel, it fell off. Is Joel still watching? Joel's still watching.
Joel is literally here. It's just to make sure that Gilby, you are definitely Joel's wearing the pants in the relationship.
Let's give him a protein block and make you eat it.
And just a heads up, we every week we do the contest where you, the audience, can come up with our thumbnail every week. So we do we have a picture? We released a photo this week. It's on the internet. There you go. It's it looks like Blaine is expecting. Chris and Blaine made a baby. Or maybe Chris is just stepping in and doing the good deed. Who knows?
Yeah, could be the milkman. Who knows?
But I'm curious to see what's going to come out of those photoshops.
I've already seen some good ones.
Oh yeah,
Yeah?
We retweet them. Let's.
It's just gonna be
Just ignore me.
for the audio listeners.
Joel, were you a middle child?
Joel is now putting gloves on Chris's head.
This is going to be more difficult than the paper towel to balance because there's two of them.
You're good.
It's utter chaos here on set. Okay, so one of my favorite directors, Chris, that is a lot of beer, by the way. If you can't see
Beer
this,
is bigger than you.
It's going to get harder to balance the
Gloves.
that's actually a regular sized beer, except Chris is a hobbit, so it just looks a lot bigger in his hands. So David O. Russell, he's one of my favorite directors. Most people know him from the last couple of years for American Hustle, Silver Linings Playbook. And then I think before that he did The Fighter. But before then, he did some really out there weirdo movies. He did Three Kings, I Heart Huckabees, some just really outside the box type movies. Now he's kind of started doing more standard Hollywood fare. But before he did Silver Linings Playbook, he did one last film called Nailed. It's got Jake Gyllenhaal and Jessica Biel. And Jessica Biel plays a woman who has a nail stuck in her head. And the whole thing's about making fun of health coverage or healthcare and stuff. And it's this movie that's been in the can for years. Nothing ever happened. It's been like 3 years. And now it's finally getting released in the UK under a new name like Love and Politics or something. But the director and no one involved with the movie had anything to do with it. Like a whole nother, the company that owned the movie rights just went in, edited the movie without the filmmakers, and are now releasing it.
Huh.
That's
Risky.
very rare. You don't see that very often.
Now I'm just imagining Jessica Biel with a nail in her head, but then I'm thinking like Happy Gilmore when the guy that plays Jaws has it. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this: when you have a filmmaker that's so well known for his style, like a David O. Russell or like a P.T. Anderson or Chris Nolan, would you see a Chris Nolan movie that he didn't have anything to do with in post.
That he like abandoned.
They abandoned.
Well,
Well,
it's not really his movie at that point. Like it's parts of it, the movie he made, but like the rest of it's not his at all.
Well, it's still his movie, but it's not necessarily. It's like
it shouldn't have his name on it though, because he didn't.
Well,
he directed it, but he just didn't.
He didn't want to finish it for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, what were the what was the situation behind
money fell.
Russell?
The money
leaving?
fell. The money fell through, and they didn't have any money to finish. They needed like I think one more scene that actually showed Jessica Biel getting the nail in the head, which would have cost a lot of money. They never shot it, so he just completely walked away from it. Just like gave up on it. But they always say there's 3 movies in filmmaking. There's the movie that's written, there's the movie that's shot, and then there's the movie when you edit it, because you can do completely different things in those situations. So I mean, I'm curious to see it because it's been abandoned for so many years, but it's going to be weird to see a movie that wasn't really seen through all the way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that happens a lot though, where a studio will come in and then like edit, make changes, force the director to make changes.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. Like one of my favorite, I love the theatrical cut of Donnie Darko. Don't like the director's cut. I like the theatrical Cinema Paradiso. Theatrical's okay. It's like an hour and a half longer. So every now and then you have a studio comes in, like they call it Harvey Weinstein, Harvey Scissorhands for a long time because he'd always cut his movies down. Which is Snowpiercer. We'll talk about that. Like the reason Snowpiercer didn't get a wide release is because Weinstein wanted them to cut 20 minutes out. And the director was like, no. So in exchange, it got like a really limited release, but he got to keep the movie exactly how he wanted.
So there wasn't stuff cut from that? We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we will talk about that.
There should have been. David Russell, this isn't the first time that he's had a movie go through production. I wonder if he's hard to work with, because I hear in Three Kings, that was an intense
Clooney knocked him out.
Clooney knocked him out. Yeah, that was like a really hard...
I Heart Huckabee.
Oh yeah,
there's like
Google I Heart Huckabees, David O. Russell, and Lily Tomlin. And there's this scene. It's like Jason Schwartzman. It's all the actors in the scene, and then like David Russell and Lily Tomlin get in a fucking argument, and O. Russell just like knocks all the props off the table, and you can see the whole crew just walk out of the room.
I like his movies. He must be an asshole to work with.
You know what? I'm really good at being able to differentiate like between a person's movies and their art versus who they are as a person. Like you could be the biggest fucking asshole in the world, but if your art or your music's good and I like it, like I'm okay with that.
Let's do this, Joel. Let's do this. What's on my head?
You're a baghead.
Okay, I'll take it.
Otherwise known as a butterface.
Just what he didn't put holes in it. Thank you, Joel. I'm not gonna drop mine. What's next?
Okay, so Taken 3. This is really funny. I don't know if we have the fake synopsis. This was online for like a day or two, and I got my attention, and it was the Taken 3 and it's called, there it is. It was the synopsis, and it was.
This was not there when I looked.
Yeah, it's not there anymore. But it said Liam Neeson returns as an ex-government Brian Mills, whose life is shattered when his dog is kidnapped.
well.
That's totally making fun of John Wick. Right?
That was his John Wick.
It was on Wikipedia, so
yeah.
Somebody edited it.
Well, the thing is he said, I'll only do Taken if no one is taken. Like that's
what he said?
Yeah, he said, I'm only going to do it if in the movie no one gets taken.
If no human is taken.
Yeah. I don't know. So
Walk Among the Tombstones? Like
I can see he was like, well, we've already, she's how many times can she get taken?
Yeah. What is the actual...
First time, fool me once.
What's the actual synopsis behind?
They took it away.
Behind like the actual Taken 3, isn't he's being hunted by his own government, right?
Supposedly his wife gets killed, and then he gets framed for the murder, and the CIA, the FBI, the TSA, they're all after him.
TSA.
I don't know. Everyone's after him.
Say what you want about Taken. I thought the second one wasn't very good, but the choreography and some of the things that happened in it were.
I didn't see the second one, but the first one was fun.
First one was a lot of fun.
First one was awesome.
There's another movie.
In fight scene choreography, that makes a lot in a movie.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Why are you guys continuing to wear these things on your head?
Because Joel is standing and he's watching us. And
tell him to put us back on.
No questioning the structure of the show.
Well, okay, so also on the internet I found I think it was big on Reddit, it was the Liam Neeson movie kill map. Someone made a map of the entire world. I think we have it, and it's all the there it is. These are all the deaths and murders that Liam Neeson has done. I'd like to think in movies only. So that's it. I see none up there for Schindler's List because he was a good guy in that
Star Wars
movie.
episode
I like
one.
the two wolves.
Yeah, you should subtract for the lives he saved. in Schindler's List.
I could have saved more.
Cut to Mandy. All right, Joel's put something on her head as well now.
She looks like the girl with the gold earring or whatever.
Oh yeah, that one.
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
You don't know anything about art.
Oh yeah.
It's a painting.
Yeah, I
and there
know
was a
that.
really bad Scarlett Johansson movie about it.
Oh, was there? Oh.
So anyway, check out that Liam Neeson kill map if you have any interest. Gilby, I'm gonna talk a little bit about Warcraft. So Warcraft is a movie. It's based on World of Warcraft, which is a Blizzard IP.
Yep.
It's directed by Duncan Jones, which I believe only has one really awesome movie, which is Moon.
Right.
Oh,
What
that
else
movie's
has he
so
done besides
fucking
Moon?
good, dude.
Moon is so good.
Moon
though.
is perfect. Don't touch Moon. It's great. Source Code, I have issues with. Source Code is that one with Jake Gyllenhaal where he keeps dying. It's kind of like Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, but not as good.
Not nearly as good. But Moon is amazing. Duncan Jones is the director. He's also Zoe Bowie. He's David Bowie's son.
Yeah.
Ground control.
You couldn't help it. We'll get sued if you keep singing that song. But Moon's a great movie. You've never seen it. What I liked about it is they used miniatures for all the space stuff. Like all
It's just a good movie for It's just a good movie.
Well, it's good because it's an independent approach to like a sci-fi movie, and it looks like a big movie, but it's like telling a really small story. But here's the thing: is I love Sam Rockwell. I'll watch him in anything. So the idea to have multiple Sam Rockwells acting with each other.
Way to spoil it.
All right, but Warcraft though.
Proud of you.
Warcraft though. What's going on there?
So Warcraft. Okay, so they released two posters. It's Fight for the Allegiance or Fight for the Horde.
It's the Alliance.
Alliance. Tell me a little bit about what I'm saying on here.
I mean, I played WoW, but I don't care about the lore at all.
No.
Like, I mean, how can you?
A lot of people. Yeah. This is. I mean, I played WoW, but I got to like level 37. So
I played a lot of WoW back in the day, but I skipped all the quest text because otherwise you're reading it.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time reading. Yeah. But that being said, I'm still excited about the movie.
I'll see the movie. I like fantasy movies.
Just to be clear, is it a live action?
Yeah, it's a live action.
Man, if they just release cinematic, like their computer animated movies, have you seen their cinematics for their?
Oh yeah, they're
their
amazing.
cinematics
They're
department
fucking
is
amazing.
ridiculous.
I would absolutely go see one of those movies.
Yeah,
Those take a lot.
it's interesting. So it's like live action. The only names I saw Clancy Brown, who's been in Lost and Carnival and a bunch of stuff. He's more of a character actor. The only name that really stuck out to me was Ben Foster, who played Archangel in the third X-Men Last Stand, and he's been in a bunch of stuff.
Oh,
He's
he
an
was
alpha
in
dog.
310 to Yuma.
He was also in Flash Forward on Disney back in the day.
Well, what else? He was a crazy mofo in some movie recently.
He's a really good actor, man. He's
Yeah.
Pandorum.
He was in The Messenger, I think, with Woody Harrelson. He's been in a bunch of stuff. He's one of those guys who'll do big blockbuster films, but he also does a lot of indies.
All right.
as
He's
well.
fucking nuts in 310 to Yuma. Go on.
Horde or Alliance?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
I'd say Horde for him.
Probably the Alliance. That's what I
I
played.
think
No,
you,
you'd be
you,
Horde.
you said you played a lot of WoW. You're
I
not
played
an
a
all pack.
dwarf.
All right, so
Played a
you're
dwarf.
Alliance.
That's what I just said.
All right.
It's a Horde
But-
because like you're like you could be like a barbarian in the Horde, be like, "Rawr."
Kind of already
You know
a
what I
barbarian.
think would be cool in this movie is to like see cut between like both sides, and like it's not necessarily like good versus evil like Lord of the Rings, where it's like you're rooting for the good guys.
Well, that's the
like,
thing is in the synopsis they're saying that the Horde and the Alliance team up anyway. So
What?
it's,
What?
So like Batman and Superman, Batman versus Superman. You know they're gonna hook up or not hook up, but
Man,
hook up.
I would
the one
really.
thing I'll say is that I was looking over some of the characters that they're bringing into the movie, and I recognize those names from the game, even though I don't know who they are.
Do you think they're ever gonna have the traditional like just to like pander to the fans that overhead shot to like replicate the scene like maybe if it's only like for a couple of minutes like the overhead like play like the play shot because
Like
they
a
did
third
that,
person
they did that in
perspective.
Doom like they did
Yeah.
in Doom.
Yeah.
You can't do a Doom movie and not have the first person
But
shooter
Doom
POV.
was also kind of shitty. So
You should write reviews, Chris. Doom was also kind of shitty.
They should put that on their
No, I don't think they
DVD
will.
box.
There's no point in doing
All right,
it.
let's take a break real quick. Blaine, how does Pongo's voice sound? Just give me a heads up. I have no idea.
Pongo sounds like this.
So he's a ripoff of Steamboat Willie,
Sure.
my Mickey Mouse. Now we're gonna be sued.
All right, so he's going to be reading the ad. Correct?
All right, Pongo, tell us a little bit about what's going on. The greatest time in TV is the fall. Your favorite TV shows are coming back with new episodes and new shows are premiering. And Hulu Plus is making this fall the best one ever. Right now, Hulu Plus has all the current season episodes of your favorite shows like Sleepy Hollow, Bob's Burgers, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. If you're not caught up on your shows, catch up now on Hulu Plus. You probably watch Hulu on your computer. Hulu Plus is so much more. Hulu Plus lets you watch every episode of shows like South Park, Family Guy, and more. And Hulu Plus works on your computer, smart TV, Roku, Apple TV, Xbox, Wii, PlayStation, pretty much any streaming device you already own. For only $7.99 a month, watch your fall shows anytime, anywhere. But I'm getting the hookup for my subscribers, and you get a 2-week trial when you go to huluplus.com/roosterteeth. 2 weeks is better than one. Make sure you go to huluplus.com/roosterteeth so you get the extra free week. And they know we sent you. It helps support us to keep making videos and gets you a better deal. One more time, that's huluplus.com/roosterteeth for your 2-week free trial. Nice. Thanks, Bongo.
Yay.
You are amazing. Also, check out Brooklyn Nine-Nine and a bunch of other shows. I think Emily Higgins has a few movies on Hulu. You should definitely check it out. Even Pongo gets headgear. Now I feel completely left out.
Oh, shit.
All
He
right.
already has a yarmulke on, Joel. So, it's Pongo.
All right, let's see. So we're doing pretty good. Internet, what does the internet have to say? Go over
Okay.
there, Andy. You look great, by the way, that whatever it is on your head.
Thank you. I feel great. Dutch face.
Why is that funny?
I
At
wasn't.
Dutch face.
Maybe it's because it made me think of Dutch oven.
He thinks that Jared Leto would be good because he tends to throw himself really into his roles and everything.
Nice.
And then our good friend Jenny Nolf wants to remind us that nobody really liked the choice of Heath Ledger for the Joker.
That's
back
true.
in the day.
Yeah.
That's true. I definitely knocked on Heath Ledger when it got first announced because he was such like a kind of like a teen. He was doing a bunch of teen
Heartthrob.
movies at the time, so it was a
And things I
weird. It was
hate
a
about
weird
you.
choice.
Well, it was interesting, too, because I remember Jack Nicholson was actually pissed. He's like, why didn't they choose me to play the Joker again? It's like, Jack, you're fucking old. Come on. I could do it again.
Thank you, Dutch oven, for the information.
But-
What's interesting is that so Heath Ledger got a lot of heat whenever he came out, but. Hold on, I totally had this thought, and
Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger. But, it's really interesting is, okay, so look at Jared Leto. So he totally does engulf himself in his roles. Have you guys ever seen, is it 27? The movie where he plays Mark David Chapman?
Nope.
He got fat for that
Oh,
movie.
I know. I don't think that movie was very well received.
No, it wasn't.
And it's like, man, he went and got fat for a
No,
shitty
he got
movie.
really, really fat.
No, the
How
worst.
fat did he get?
The worst.
My Chemical Romance, kind of chubby.
At least the fucking movie got, or he was in the movie because what's the pretty boy that was in The Notebook? Ryan Gosling got fat for Lovely Bones,
And then he got kicked out.
and he got kicked out, and Mark
Yeah.
Wahlberg ended up being the dad.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling, when he was supposed to be the dad for Lovely Bones, he was like, I don't feel like I'm old enough. I don't feel like I'm a dad. Like, so he went and got really fat and grew a beard.
He was drinking Haagen-Dazs, melted Haagen-Dazs.
Which is what I think exactly what Jared Leto did to get really big and for 27. But yeah, so he gained all this weight, and at the very end, Peter Jackson's like, nah, Mark Wahlberg, which I think is an awful fucking idea. Cut to shot of Bongo.
Marky Mark.
Nice. Did anyone here actually see The Lovely Bones? It wasn't.
I saw it.
It
Saw it
wasn't
with my
my
mom.
favorite Peter Jackson movie.
My mom read the book, and she was really excited about it.
I think I
was
might
like,
have seen it in passing, but I don't remember it very well.
I don't think people were very excited.
Yeah, I don't think it was very well.
The murderer was very murderer-ish.
It was Tucci, right? Wasn't it Stanley Tucci?
Stanley Tucci. Was it?
Yeah,
Stanley
and then
Tucci?
the girl that plays the lead in Lovely Bones, she's the girl from the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yes, I know that much.
And she's from Hannah, that movie that's like really intense.
Eric Bana.
Yeah, and that's
the
it.
shittiest Hulk of all the Hulks.
Oh, come on. Oh, he was an okay Hulk.
He was good as Nero
The movie was bad.
in Star
though.
Trek, but he was terrible as Hulk.
Yeah, no, I like Eric Bana. You know what's weird about Eric Bana is he was a comedian in Australia.
Nah, I don't
What?
buy it.
No. Eric Bana is like he was like a stand-up in Australia. He was like he has a comedy album which is like him and like it's like him pretty much it's like him naked but like there's like a soccer ball covering his butt or something.
Is that why his performance in the Hulk was laughable?
Oh,
I
dude,
right?
say what you want about the Hulk, but he's the shit in Munich. That movie's fucking rad.
Okay.
Have you guys seen Munich?
No.
That is a movie. It's like what? It's pretty much like the Nazi killer. It's like Eric Bana's like this badass Jewish guy, and he goes around and they kill like these guys who pretty much killed the Jerusalem. There's the Jerusalem.
Oh,
You
shit.
should team up with Liam Neeson.
Dude, that would be a
You know,
fucking
like
awesome movie.
Liam Neeson could be saving
Yeah.
everyone like Schindler's List, but he'd also be fighting. And
Well, I always give like people like Eli Roth and all these gore and Saw movie guys always get like all this kudos for doing gore really well. I still think Spielberg does gore the fucking best. Like in Munich, like a guy has a hole in his cheek. In Schindler's List, there's some crazy shit. In Temple and Indiana Jones, that dude gets his like heart pulled out of his chest.
Aliman.
Yeah, and it looks fucking great.
and Ark of the Covenant, just the clay.
Oh, the guy's head. That's the kind of stuff that gives you nightmares for years.
Yeah.
I remember.
Love that child- part
Have you
of my
ever
childhood.
seen Pee-wee's Big Adventure? Whenever they show Large Marge.
Yeah.
Tell him Large Marge sent you.
That was good. You know, we were talking earlier about generations and how like certain roles that directors are filling are being taken over. And we compared Nolan as like the new Spielberg, and then we compared. You made a good one.
I would say Nolan is the new Spielberg because the way I saw everyone get excited outside the theater, all these people. And I realized, like, man, this is like Close Encounters for me. Like, this is everyone being like, let's go into the stars, let's get our minds blown. Let's Spielberg makes movies, but they don't bring out crowds and they don't capture people's imagination like the way he used to in the '80s Amblin days. And I feel like Nolan is our Spielberg now. And I feel like
Nolan, it's like you go to the movie and you expect it just to be like. I did very little research on Interstellar, and I was just like, I trust it. I'm gonna be good with it.
And Tarantino is like similar to like what Scorsese was in the '70s, where everyone's like, well, he's gonna like totally be risque and totally like do some controversial shit, but it's going to be awesome, and the music's going to be really good. And then like I guess Pete Anderson would be like our Altman. And
Quentin Tarantino announced that he wanted to retire after like
10th movie.
Still, he's still like on that.
Shit. He'll do anything for me.
That. There's no way. It's like
anything for attention.
Someone who likes making movies, they'll retire because they're tired. They get stressed out, and the process is so just exhausting. But then like 5 years later, he'll just get antsy because he retired after like Pulp Fiction for like
Jackie Brown.
Or and he didn't do anything for like 5 or.
He smoked a lot of pot for 4 years and watched TV. Like that's what I heard.
Yeah, and then he's like, well, I want to do stuff again. And the same thing.
And he said he was like, Hateful Eight, it got leaked on the internet. I'm never gonna make this fucking movie now. He's so pissed off. He's making Hateful Eight.
It's this thing is because you get so used to like everything you put out being accepted and like knocking out of the park. So Reservoir Dogs was this thing that meant a lot to him, and it came out and it was amazing. Pulp Fiction was just unstoppable. So then he did Jackie Brown as his victory lap, and it didn't do well. And then he kind of went into hiding. And you see, I mean, that happens. Like, I mean, this is a random comparison, but it's like Weezer. Weezer did that. Where they had like one album that was the Blue Album that was really big, and they released like a more of a personal album called Pinkerton, and they didn't do well. And then they the lead singer went into hiding. He was like, "Oh, I can't. I'm like, no one cares anymore."
I was just talking to someone who there was like a Dell convention for just like the higher ups recently in Austin, and Weezer played for like a bunch of old dudes like last week.
I wonder what they did. Did they just like sit in their chairs and
really
watch?
Awkward. And they got really excited when Duran came on.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, if you're Dell, you get Weezer. I mean, Apple has U2 playing at little get-togethers and shit.
Like the wolf. Man, I wish I had known about this Dell convention. I would have fucking gone to Duran with this
dude.
I will say, Tarantino.
You want to be the new Dell dude?
Yeah.
Well, Tarantino has said he'll retire from movies at his 10th film. He's thinking about retiring because the whole thing's getting too hard. But he's
full of shit.
He's still open to doing miniseries.
He's full of shit.
Like HBO miniseries.
Yeah.
Well, because Inglourious Bastards was originally supposed to be a miniseries. He wanted to be like this HBO like 10-part miniseries. And like I've said it before, like Luc Besson, who does Taken and Fifth Element, all those, or he produces Taken, he came out and told, I think they're hanging out in Cannes, and Luc Besson told Tarantino, no, Tarantino deserves to be seen on the big screen, on the silver screen, not on small TVs. And Tarantino was like, yeah, you're right. Yeah. So he made Inglourious Bastards a movie because he cut a lot out of that story. There's a whole like Black Platoon.
See, and they're supposed to return to that idea, and apparently there's supposed to be a follow-up film to Inglourious Bastards.
See, I don't believe anything. I mean, I don't believe anything. A lot of times that either Kevin Smith or Tarantino say when they're saying they're quitting or they're doing these, like, because Tarantino came out and said he was not going to do the Hateful Eight once the script got leaked,
right?
And now he's doing it, and and he's shooting in 70mm, which is very cool.
I just think that I love Tarantino's work, but like on a personal level, I don't think I would be able to get along with that guy because apparently he's just fucking nuts. And have you seen him, like, he's gotten into fights with people? And there was this really awkward interview where he was hanging out with like Samuel L. Jackson and a couple of other prominent African-American actors, and he started talking like really trying with these ebonics, and it was really awkward for the people.
Well, he's a huge fan of hip hop and stuff. Like the very few times I met him, he's always wearing like a tracksuit, and he's always
saying, like,
he's like real urban. I mean, he hangs out with Wu-Tang Clan. Like he gets
cringy.
the RZA to do all these. Like, I mean, he really thinks he's part of. I mean, he really loves that whole kind of culture.
Let's just check if Joel left. Joel is still
lurking.
No, he's still. He literally came out of the shadows as he said that.
He was thinking he read my thoughts.
Nice. Okay, so before
really engaged with what you were talking about.
Joel, Gold. Well, how's Gold doing? All right, Andy. Let's. We're about to talk about some TV stuff, but why don't you tell me what the quote of the week was and who our winner is?
All right. Well, the quote of the week was from the Blues Brothers, and it was John Belushi who said it. And the first one to point that out was Tom Anger at Tom1, or at Angry Tom1.
Angry Tom1. Hey, man, have a Coke and a smile. You just won. It's a good day. Don't be so angry. What's funny about Blues Brothers? Spielberg has a cameo in that. as well. He's like, there's like a really like, they knock on the door, there's like a bunch of noise or something, and the door opens, and he's got baseball hat on, crazy shaggy hair, huge aviators, and the room that he's in is just filled with smoke. And he's like, hey, like it's like this burned out young Spielberg. It's fucking awesome.
Love Spielberg.
Okay, so Starz is doing an Evil Dead TV show.
Yeah,
and that's fucking awesome. And it's gonna have Bruce Campbell.
Sam Raimi is writing and
Sam
directing
Raimi's
the
brother.
first episode.
Oh my
No,
God.
it's Sam Raimi was involved at least with the first episode.
Yeah, well, most of those guys, it's like Barry Sonnenfeld and all these guys, whenever they release a series, they usually, like, in Favreau, too, they always direct that pilot just to get more people on top of it.
I am absolutely all for this.
I love that Bruce Campbell's involved.
Yeah, no, totally. And Bruce Campbell is the nicest guy. So the Evil Dead, the trilogy, has this cult following called the Deadites, and I'm a Deadite. I've been one since I was a little kid. I loved those movies. I met Bruce Campbell at a book signing because he has 2 really good autobiographies. Nicest dude in the world. Josh Flanagan, the other day, the Evil Dead musical was in town, and we went to see that. Evil Dead is it's such a fucking great series and franchise.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see
There's so
what they're
many
gonna do with
nods to it in other entities, like, and especially Cabin in the Woods. Cabin in the Woods has so many nods.
Oh,
to
the
Evil
cabin!
Dead.
It's like exactly
like there's even
identical.
a molesting tree on the board or whatever.
Yeah, no, and on the board as well, it says Deadites.
Deadites. There you go.
Yeah.
So I've been curious to see when the continuation of this Ash Evil Dead was going to happen, because they did the standalone movie that was kind of a reboot.
Yeah.
And what I was told was originally the plan is that they were going to keep doing that series. They were going to do an Evil Dead 2 with that same director and those people, and then for Army of Darkness, when they got to the Army of Darkness stage, which is the third, they were going to have the Army of Darkness 2 merge with Bruce Campbell, and they were all going to make a super movie. And I guess that has fallen by the wayside.
Yeah, because that was a while ago.
That Evil Dead reboot did really well, and then the director Federico or something ended up doing other things. I'm really bummed out. I was really excited about this team up of the whole Evil Dead franchise. Yeah. People have been really excited about. I mean, I love Bruce Campbell. You see him in all the first 3 Spider-Mans because Sam Raimi directed them. He's really great in the Hudsucker Proxy, which is a Coen Brothers movie. He's just this random. He's an acquired taste.
I correct me if I'm wrong. I think Bruce Campbell is in every Sam Raimi movie. He has a cameo or small part, or he does like stunts or something for it, because they were childhood friends. I read it like his autobiography, but they're like lifelong friends. And Sam Raimi has this thing with just torturing Bruce. It's really funny. I'd recommend if looks could kill or chins could kill. That's his autobiography. Go read that.
Well, Sam Raimi always puts his brother and Bruce Campbell
Ted,
in all his movies, and he always puts the car from Evil Dead, which is the car that Uncle Ben drives in the first 3 Spider-Man movies. Or the first one.
In Army of Darkness, it's the one that like comes crashing down. It's the one that they drive to the cabin.
It's so fun seeing Sam Raimi movies with like movie nerds or like at festivals, because like when you see the car or you see like people are woo, woo!
Yeah.
You know, if you did like regular theater, people are like, why the fuck? You know, like it's so weird. Like when you see a movie at a film festival, like you clap at the credits or like during scenes, but if you do that at regular theater, people are like, why the fuck are you clapping?
Drag Me to Hell. I think the old woman's the crazy haunted old woman's car is the car.
Drag Me to Hell is a great movie.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
That ending, awesome.
No, I love everything about the movie. I love like just the monsters of it. The opening is really good. I love that like it's not such a happy ending. That movie is that movie's Evil Dead with a girl. It really is.
Okay.
And
urban Evil Dead.
So is the newest Evil Dead, which is pretty good. I like the new Evil Dead. Let us know. Are you an Evil Dead fan? Are you a Deadite? Would you tell people, if people out there have not seen the Evil Dead films, would you tell them to start with 1, or would you go just say start with 2? Because they're the same movie.
Yeah. 2's.
Well,
yeah.
You can see both. I mean, like, why not? Like, just get drunk and watch one, and get drunk and watch the other.
This reminds me of that scene in High Fidelity. Have you ever seen High Fidelity?
Yeah.
So John Cusack finds out that his girlfriend is seeing a guy, but they just started seeing each other. So he doesn't know if they slept together yet. So he's all weird about it. So he's like, he asks his girlfriend about it. And his girlfriend's like, no, I haven't slept with Ian yet. And he's like, that yet makes me think. So he talks to Jack Black, and he's like, so if I told you, hey, I haven't said Evil Dead yet, what would that mean to you? And he's like, well, I mean, that movie's been around for a long time, so I would think that, you probably have no interest in seeing it. And he's like, yeah, that's what I think. And he's like, but that yet at the end really makes sense.
It's a pretty funny conversation.
But yeah, High Fidelity, that's a fucking movie. If you've never seen that movie, go check it out. But I would say a lot of people don't know. So Evil Dead was the movie that Sam Raimi made. He lost the rights to Evil Dead. So he made The Evil Dead 2. He changed the name up a little bit, did a sequel, but it's exactly the same as the first
Sounds
movie.
like what happened to Romero. Romero was a very poor businessman, and he lost Night of the Living Dead or something with that series.
They didn't put the banner at the front that said like all rights reserved, like copyright year or whatever. You always have to put that in front of all your productions.
Yeah.
And he didn't. So that's the reason.
It's anyone can.
Night of the Living Dead.
What do they call that when it's like free
Public
commerce?
domain.
Public domain.
So yeah, we could print DVDs of
and sell them
and sell it, and it'd be legal.
Well, and that's why on a lot of independent movies, like they always show people watching Night of the Living Dead on TV, and they cut to footage because it's free.
Free, yeah.
So that's a nice little bit of
also a great movie. So.
Tidbit. So would you guys watch a man eaten by a snake?
This pisses me off because first off, it's really stupid. Second off, like one of two things is going to happen: either the guy is going to go in the snake and somehow he's going to die, which would be all right.
They've already filmed it.
Oh, they have.
It's already been filmed.
Well,
Is he
the
alive?
snake is going to die, or if they don't show the snake dying, the snake is dead.
Well, they came out and released a statement saying that the snake and the guy are okay.
Yeah, that's of course they would
Needs to
say
be
that,
okay.
but you know a snake.
that
died.
can't be comfortable for the snake.
Like a snake doesn't process a person.
How long does it take to be inside a snake, though?
Well, you're not coming out the
Well, it
back
depends
end.
on-
You got to
yeah.
come out the front again, or you're cutting them open. So you have two giant snakes and one's just dying.
Do you think the guy took like any devices in there for boredom? Like he's playing Peggle or anything while he's in
I'm
that
sure
snake?
he had some kind of communication device so that he's like, please
well, it's
get me
not
out of
like
this
it's that
fucking
far.
snake.
You could just like knock because
Yeah.
it's like I'm in.
How
It's
you
like we
doing?
know.
You got about 5 feet to your butt. All right, you almost there.
That is a terrible idea. You're absolutely right.
Oh, dude,
I mean, no. Like, think about this, man. You're going in the snake's mouth. Like, it would normally take like years to process you and poop you out. But since it's not doing that, you got to come out the snake's mouth. But you can't do that.
I'll tell you what. If this became a thing and they were offered like rides and you could do it, like for
Would I
like
get
for
eaten
$2,
by a
no.
snake?
would you be eaten by a snake, Chris? Just to say you did. We've
Just to
A
say-
snake.
Three of us here have been skydiving together, and we did it just to say we did it. And that was an
What's the
experience. Would,
sna-
would
is the
you?
sna- What does the snake feel about eating me?
Okay, a snake, no. A whale, which I think could
that's where
probably
I am.
might be able to handle me.
That's where I am.
I would do whale, and then I'd be like modern Jonah. That'd be cool, But like a snake, I fucking hate snakes. I'm Indiana Jones. So.
All right, everyone is either hates snakes or hates spiders. I think I'm in the spider camp. I think I could. Like, the idea of like having too many legs on my like skin while they run up and stuff.
I like
What else
snakes.
would you get eaten by?
I think
That's
I
just
think
not
a
a whole
snake and a
lot.
whale is just that's all you
If we had
get.
dinosaurs around,
I'd eat by a horse or something.
Chris, you can't.
I feel like I was trying to think of big animals that could eat. And I'm like,
That's the biggest you can think of. That's your imagination.
What about
right
a
there.
pony or a mini horse, little Sebastian?
It's a very large dog. I could, yeah.
Geez, there's so
Like
many.
a whale
animals.
shark would
An
that's
elephant.
Sort of a whale.
They don't.
Elephant would be all right.
No, it wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't want
Nah,
to.
I don't
Because
think
the
I'm
mouth
big
is
enough.
too small.
Mouth is too small.
I wouldn't want to
Giraffe?
hurt an elephant.
All right, this is the worst conversation.
Alligator.
Internet.
The giraffe has got this.
What
like,
would you be eaten by if you could? Let us know. Sound off.
And
Well,
not
no,
in a
that is
sexual
quick.
way.
If you were
Internet.
if you had to pick one animal to eat you, what would you?
Blue
Before
whale.
you die. No, as your death.
Oh, as your death?
Yeah.
Tiger.
Well,
Yeah, fuck yeah.
When do we get to the point as far as broadcast when these kind of things like really?
Hamsters.
When do we get to the point where they cross the line? Like we live in the era now of like Toddlers and Tiaras, Honey Boo Boo. Like Fear Factor was at least 5,
I'd
6,
watch
10
that.
years ago. So people have already been eating weird shit on TV.
Television's
like,
just
when
They
dumb.
already crossed the line, though.
well, are we at that level now where we're
Way
just,
beyond it. I mean, you shouldn't be eaten by a snake on TV.
You know what's funny is like who do you think has the worst TV standards as far as shit they'll play? Is it us or Japan?
Japan. They
I
get
see some weird shit in Japan.
Weird shit.
You know what I think is weird is how like everyone else in the world is so open to like showing nudity and sexual stuff on commercials and an everyday like watershed hour and on TV, but America's like no to boobs and butts.
It's the opposite.
Violence though.
It's the opposite. Over there, they don't show like crazy violence.
It's true.
Yeah, so just flip flopped.
Going back to Interstellar, they had some really interesting commentary where it's like, we need to breed our generation, the next generation, to think more about Earth and making it prosper. So they were talking about adapting textbooks, which I thought was really interesting. So maybe that has something to do with our culture. It's like we show them violence so that we have like
dude,
a military power.
They've been adapting textbooks for a long time.
well,
now.
no, it's just an interesting thing to think of,
Yeah.
Not really film related.
I
but
don't know
it's
how
just
that
like-
relates to being eaten by a snake. I'm just.
All right, Chris.
Really quick, before we move on to the movie book club of the week, and this week it was Snowpiercer, which I'm really excited about because it's a movie I've been pushing for a long time. But really quickly, and I don't know if you're caught up, but I just want to say for the Doctor Who fans or the Whovians, I know that Andrew here can help us out a little bit as far as the feedback on this. But they are showing the new Master. The Master is a female for the first time ever. The Time Lord Master, I believe. This is obviously someone who knows nothing about Doctor Who.
Yeah,
so I'm probably ruining the information. But this has been a big deal because it's never been done before. And there's been a huge amount of feedback and backlash against like how I'm done with Doctor Who. It's officially over for me. So to Andy/Mandy, let us know, why is this such a big deal?
Well, it's a big deal because Doctor Who has been going on for, decades. And there hasn't ever been one of the main characters prominent character has never been like a female Time Lord. So it's interesting because Time Lords, as far as we know, have always been able to go like male to female, female to male. But it's the first time we've seen it since or at least one of the main, characters, one of the more prominent Time Lords to actually change genders is pretty interesting.
Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's a move forward as far as like growing, or do you think it's kind of like a gimmick? Do you think it's good or bad?
What about neutral?
Neutral.
Yeah, it's like I don't think of anything of it.
Yeah,
Like James Bond.
I feel like being neutral would be a good thing. Like
James
neutral.
Bond's had female villains.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm curious to someone who watches.
But what would happen if James Bond was a female?
It would be Jamie Bond.
Jamie Bond.
That'd be weird.
Well, they've already talked about making James Bond. Like Daniel Craig said that
Black.
Idris Elba would be a really good James Bond.
I would be the first in line at the
Idris
theater for
Elba
that.
would be a
God
James
damn,
Bond.
can you
pretty
imagine? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm nerding out. That'd be so sick.
That'd be pretty cool. So anyway, let us know. Tweet us. Let us know. The Newsmaster on Doctor Who is a female.
Bald.
It's Missy.
James
Is this
Bald.
cool with you? Are you cool with it? Do you hate it? Let us know. We're very curious. RT Screenplay. And okay, so now time for our movie book club of the week, which was Snowpiercer, a film that I was very lucky enough that I got to see with the director. I got to ride a train out to the middle of nowhere and watch the movie. It's really awesome.
The director was the same guy who directed The Host.
The Host, which is something Gus was talking about.
Fantastic.
Oh, The Host is an amazing movie.
Yeah.
That's also, I think, on Netflix,
Yeah,
or it's online streaming, so you check it out.
The Asian people in this movie are the main character from The Host and the daughter from The Host.
That's right. That's right. What I love about his movies, and because they're really heavy, but even The Host is really heavy, but it's sprinkled with comedy, with comedic factors. Like there's a scene in The Host when they're at one of their family members just got murdered by the monster, and they're at the funeral for this person, and they're all hugging each other and crying, and then they all lose balance and they all fall on the floor, and they keep crying while they're on the floor, and it is visually hilarious, but it's like such a heavy moment. And there's scenes like that in Snowpiercer where the guys with the blades and the black come out, and then and Chris Evans is going fucking amazing, like with his axe,
yeah.
and then he slips on a fish, and it's a little silly.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, was that supposed to be funny?
Yeah.
And then they had like Happy New Year's. He looks over and there's a guy who he'd probably just killed, and he's like smiling. Like,
That Happy New Year moment was amazing to me. I loved it.
I had no idea what was gonna happen.
Well, because I like the idea that in Snowpiercer, the dates and moments in time are represented by parts on the train
yeah.
trip. Like they're like, oh, we're at this part of the mountain. We're at the year mark. It's our Happy New Year moment, and I love it because like Jamie Bell, who I know him best from Billy Elliot. He's done a bunch of movies, but he plays Edgar, and I can never hear the word Edgar now without it's ruined for me thanks to Achievement Hunter.
Yeah.
But so Edgar, he just got done killing all these guys and fighting, and then like they announce it's Happy New Year, and he just takes his moment. He's like, "Oh, another year. I hate getting older." And then but like it was such a funny moment. I don't know. I loved it. What did you guys think?
I didn't like it.
I've seen it a few times now, and I really am on the fence about it. Like I think it's okay on its own, but
Sorry, Chris, go ahead.
I liked it. I do agree that it could have been shorter.
Could have been very short, much, yeah.
I really liked the first half, and then I think somewhere like the second half, I was like, okay, it's starting to, like, I see why they have a lot of train stations or a lot of, but I mean, I thought it was a lot of fun to watch. I had a good time.
I think visually, yeah. And there's those wide shots where they show like one car and then a car beyond that and another car, and you can see the movement. Fucking cool. How he did that, I don't know. Tilda Swinton.
Tilda Swinton is a goddamn chameleon.
She's
weird.
amazing.
She looks nothing like what Tilda Swinton looks
You want to
like.
hear something crazy? The part that Tilda Swinton plays was actually supposed to be John C. Reilly.
I would love to have seen that because I can't stand Tilda Swinton.
I mean, but you're not supposed to. She's amazing.
No, just Tilda Swinton in general. She went to a museum and slept in a glass box and called it art. She's a fucking lunatic.
No, I mean she's out. I mean, and
She is a space cadet.
She's
When she yelled or when she died, you can ask Josh and Clayton. I screamed, "Yay!"
Well, no, you were supposed to. You were supposed to clap.
No, not because
She's
of
a
that.
very-
Because you can like villains. You know, I hate Tilda Swinton.
Oh, no, you're supposed to hate
she
her.
was so good at that as that villain though. And like
Yeah,
she didn't.
she is.
I didn't know she was Tilda Swinton the first time I watched it.
Yeah, and the false teeth were her idea.
Yeah, amazing. Because she's awesome in that
But-
movie. I hated her, but you're supposed to hate her.
This suffered from the same thing too that Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome did, where it's like they had kids chanting and doing hand signs and all that. I hate that shit for some reason. So when they went to the kids area and they're all doing the choreographed singing, like the brainwash thing, I hated that.
The kids moment with the school scene was great.
Dude, so many
that
things just
teacher,
bothered
that
me.
teacher is so good.
I mentioned that scene to my friend. I was like, yeah, that scene with the school kids and the teachers really creepy. Like they're all brainwashed, and she's like, yeah. The creepy part is I went to a Christian school and it was a lot like that. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
What happens if the engine stops? We all freeze and die.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hated that shit. I hate chanting.
What did you think about the ending? Because that
Hated the ending.
Dumb.
They killed like everyone besides like two people.
Your
Well,
protagonist.
I
What
was-
happens to your protagonist? Ed Harris showing up, fucking cool, and then dumb.
Well, it is funny that Ed Harris is always like the guy who controls everything. It's like
Yeah.
the Truman
Truman Show?
Show. It's like I manipulate everything.
So I talked to Clayton, and he had a really good point. And I said, if Ed Harris is so smart, he could build a fucking train track around the world, and he can have this train running continuously and all these things, then like, why can't he figure out a way to go out and like colonize and stuff? But then he has a god complex. He wants to control humanity.
It's that, but it's also I think when a lot of people take this movie too literal, that's when they let it like there's a sense of like disbelief. This is a fairy tale. This isn't at all like a real life like narrative movie. Like almost like this is based in real. There's no way this could ever like really work. But it's this whole thing where it's about what it says about different classes. It's about what it says about human instinct. It's about what it says about like trying to survive and like how we all try to find our place.
The commentary.
It's a metaphor for like.
It's all the whole thing is a metaphor.
It's a metaphor for they take advantage of the lesser classes and use them to fix their problems that they don't want to fix.
Hey.
And then the upper classes benefit and kind of pay it no mind.
The social commentary, I get that, and I love, subtext and all that thing. It was not subtle at all. It was so on the nose. It was just slamming you in the face.
I didn't.
But okay. So as far as the movie itself, like there are moments like that to me that are just so smart and well done. Like that night vision scene.
Cool. Yeah.
That was
really
fucking
cool. It's really cool.
Like that to me was great.
The torture thing, they stick the guy's arm out. Like,
Oh,
that was
by the way, the guy who loses his arm because he wants his son back, that's Spud from Trainspotting.
Oh yeah.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Awesome.
So it's so crazy because everyone looks so different. Okay, so there's that scene whenever they open, and I love that. Who's the girl, the Asian girl that it's the daughter?
I don't know her name.
She's clairvoyant, so she can
Survived.
see through stuff.
Where'd that come from?
Whatever.
They just introduced,
Where
are you
did-
a clairvoyant? It's like, does that exist in this universe?
That was
That's
like
kinda
they said it.
shoehorned in.
They used it and it went away.
Yeah, and then okay.
They use it at the end again
what's-
just to find the kid underneath the thing.
Yeah, and,
Sure.
and-
Yeah.
yeah, and what's with these fucking robot assassins who like are unstoppable, but they have like no motivation to
You talking
kill
about
Chris
which
Evans?
guy?
You talking about the two dudes?
The two dudes that look sinister and they're wearing suits.
And they never say anything. Say the guy says one thing. I think.
Well,
He ends up like getting stabbed and fucking gutted, and then he ends up still
That's the
fighting.
one-
You know what I did think was dumb? When they were shooting at each other through the window.
Fuck.
Across, it's like, well, aren't you just like right around the corner from each other? Why are you trying to shoot through the window?
because it looks so awesome.
But it's so unrealistic though. Like they're in a moving train.
Remember what I said? It's not supposed to be real.
And he's got a scorpion, a tiny machine pistol that would not be able to make it. So many.
Those guys were very 80s villains though. Like
Yeah.
they like never said anything and they never died.
dumbest characters.
Did you feel like I knew it was really long, but I
Yeah.
felt like there were missing parts of the train like along the way.
Yeah, I think there were. I think there were.
And I just like I felt like I missed some of the explanation leading up, and then like I feel like towards the second half of the train was very empty. Like there weren't that many upper class people,
Yeah.
and there was so much in the tail,
Yeah.
and not a lot up front.
So there was a Japanese company that announced after the movie came out. The movie did really well in Asian countries and in European countries. It was there for a year before it got to the U.S. Like Miramax held it up, or the Weinstein Company held it up for a long time because they didn't want to cut the 20 minutes from the movie. but it's this thing where, well, let me ask you, like, you say it needs to be 20 minutes shorter.
Yeah.
Or because I think Harvey wanted to cut 20 minutes and the director said no. I think the biggest thing they wanted to cut was when Captain America says he knows what babies taste like.
I thought that.
That's a hard monologue to sell, man.
That was
I
dumb.
thought that was a good revelation, though. Like, it gives some context, at least for their backstory.
Oh, no, totally.
It's basically telling the story of how, like, the upper class, like, those people could have been self-sufficient because they came on board with supplies and with things, and the soldiers came and took it all. So in order to establish a class dominance, they took away all their stuff. And then
Chris,
they started giving them protein bars.
You're a writer, okay? So tell me this. Do you reveal that kind of information in the third act of the film? It's like he was a baby eater. Like, that's something that you should know from the beginning, right?
No,
When
I
you're
think
establishing
it was
the
a great
character.
time to tell it.
I didn't mind that. I mean, to me, it was an interesting monologue. It did make me laugh, which I don't know if that was the
It's hard not to
intention. I
laugh
was
at
like,
that scene.
I know what babies taste like.
I know that babies taste
He
best.
knows the babies taste best.
I don't know. I thought it was really. I thought it was a big tall. It was a tall order for Chris Evans because everyone is playing such good characters. John Hurt is amazing as he's the old man in the tail section, and then
Ends up becoming a villain.
yeah, but Tilda Swinton, everyone is so fucking good, and Chris Evans is pretty much just playing kind of Chris Evans.
I didn't even know it was him.
Really?
No, I watched the whole movie and I was like,
Look good in the beard.
Well, the director said the hardest part was covering up all his Captain America muscles because they were very predominant. They wanted him to look less big and stuff.
less
Oh man,
Captain
that
America.
cockroach reveal.
Oh, when you find out what was in the bars.
So what the fuck is wrong with people? It's bugs. Like, people
No,
eat
I
bugs
agree.
now.
I
You can
agree.
eat
It's
bugs.
like-
To me, I was like,
it seemed like they were feeding human
they're
remains
living
to
on a
people.
train.
It's just gross to look at.
It's gross, but people were like, it's the end of the fucking world. We're eating bugs.
I'm gonna eat bugs. I'll
Yeah,
eat
but when
whatever
the first
bugs.
class is having sushi and shit,
Yeah,
they can
I mean,
spare
that's
some
what
of
you
that.
have.
I'll tell you what
Here.
was really funny. Whenever we saw this movie for the Draft House and they put us on a train, right out there, they came with trays and they had the protein bars on them. But none of us had seen the movie. So they were just passing them out. And I was like, I'm going to pass. Like, I feel like this is a ruse. And then I saw the movie. I was like, I'm so glad I did not.
So what
eat
did
that.
they,
You
did they
should-
say
you should
what?
try it. I would've
Did they
tried
say
it.
But
what was in
here's
the
the deal: if they were eating babies, bugs to me don't seem that bad, right? I mean, it's like, oh man, I'm so glad they're giving us these bug
Yeah.
bars,
If they had,
as
like-
opposed to having to eat babies.
No, seriously. If
Right?
They had,
Baby bugs
if
taste
they had
best.
shown in there like pieces of the chopped up toddler,
Yeah,
then it would be really
Then
fucked
I'd
up.
be like, fuck you.
Oh.
I don't want to eat babies again.
The thing that I was trying to sell about earlier is there's a Japanese company that saw the movie and it did really well in Asian countries, and they're making a train based on the Snowpiercer train, like
That's
one that
rad.
has like the aquarium.
Oh, really?
And like where you can like
I
walk
want
through
to.
it.
I want to go to the orgy train cart. I'll live in that
Yeah.
one. Fucking and taking drugs all day.
There's things like where you got to look at the continuity just doesn't make sense. Like when they go through that train where all the people are getting their hair done, like there's old ladies reading magazines. I'm like, that magazine must be like 20 years old. But I don't know. I enjoyed it.
yeah,
I didn't.
No, I
did you?
enjoyed
The first
it.
time I watched it, this doesn't hold true throughout the movie, but at first, especially when they got to the part where they're fighting the guys in the masks, I got some like similarities with the Warriors
I
because
see
they're going
that.
through and like fighting different gangs and on a straight path.
know what-
Man,
You know what to
nice.
me?
Yeah,
So the raid, where it's like we're going up 100 floors of protected war.
Yeah.
we're gonna go to the very, very top.
Is this your trailer voice you're doing?
Yeah, it was kind of like that, where it's like, here's this concept where it's like they're gonna work their way up a train from car to car to car, going up the class structure, and it's like the raid. It's like it's the same kind of thing where it's just like,
Yeah.
here's a concept and let's explore it.
Let me ask you guys this: the ending, the polar bear. Did you
Coca-Cola
guys
commercial.
think the polar bear was going to eat them?
I was hoping to. Yeah.
Well,
I was
'cause
like, do it.
Because when we talked to when we got to talk to the director, he was saying that he really, really wishes that he would have showed a rabbit instead of a polar bear, because all they were trying to show is that life can exist outside the
Yeah,
train.
I got that
But they
much,
used a
yeah.
polar bear, and he was like, and then he was like, I really wish I would have used a rabbit. Because now everyone thinks the polar bear is going to eat the people, and I didn't get that at all.
I
I mean,
assumed
that
it.
was my first thought was like a Coca-Cola commercial. My second thought was, all right, so there's 2 people left on Earth now because everyone else fell off a fucking cliff or died in a fire.
Yeah.
and it's a girl who's 17 and like a 5-year-old, and there's a polar bear.
They're gonna have to repopulate the Earth, and it's gonna be awkward.
With their inbred children. Yeah.
I'm sure there are people that.
Well, my whole thing was like, just because I know it's stylized, but it's like, man, couldn't you just stayed on the train for like another 10 years to warm it up a little bit more?
I mean-
and then maybe just let
Fix the class system?
just not maybe blown up the train, just let it stop and then get out.
Well, there's that moment when you really start to feel like Chris Evans is gonna be the new Ed Harris. Like he's been talked into it, and you're like, wow, he's really accepting his fate here. And then when you finally see there's a little kid running the engine, he's like, fuck this. And but, you know, I get the whole ending, but there's definitely a little piece of me that's going like, that's really selfish what you did there. You like derailed the train, and now everyone's fucked. You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's like
everyone.
Everyone is dead. You just killed everyone, but the reason being, you didn't want the kid to have. But now the kid is dead. Well, maybe not that kid. But all the other kids are dead.
You don't
the
necessarily
one that went
know
into
that.
the engine. What was that all about?
I have no idea.
That was
Brainwashed
dumb.
kids,
But
man.
yeah, okay.
You know, I don't care what you guys say. I love that movie. I fucking love Snowpiercer.
It bums me out because, and I talked to Clayton and Josh about this, but this is the closest we'll get to a Bioshock movie, and that's sad to me.
Oh, I don't know about that.
They're not gonna make a Bioshock.
I think they are.
Well, if they do, I'm excited because like there's elements that they could use from Snowpiercer. I will say that there's awesome moments from it, but man, overall.
So, all right, so that's Snowpiercer for a T. If you want to talk more about Snowpiercer, we have our forums on roosterteeth.com/screenplay. We have a movie book club forum. We have a forum for every episode and movies in general. So just jump in there. Let us know. It's free to join Rooster Teeth. So jump in those. Let us know about the forums. Anything you guys wanted to say?
But
Don't get too overhyped over Snowpiercer.
Don't get too overhyped. I don't know, man. I've gotten the most tweets from this movie book club from people being like, "This movie is amazing."
It's a good movie, but
There might be a lot of people who hated it, but I think it's cool that it exists.
Joel's on the move. What is Joel thinking?
What is Joel doing?
I don't know. I think he's
All
looking
right.
for a shoot.
Snowpiercer. Andy, let us know. Are there any cool thumbnails? What are your favorites that we've been getting? Explain to us what we're looking at here.
I saw a great for the green screen.
Yeah.
Green screen. I saw a great Juno one. That's my favorite.
I
love
didn't even
it.
think about that.
If you can find that, Patrick, I would love to see it again.
Okay, so I left it open to our fans. I tweeted about it for my Jose Jones Films Twitter, asking what they think the movie. Yeah, well, so you know what they think, which movie we should watch this week. And I've been getting a lot of Tarantino. A lot of people are asking for Django. A lot of Kill Bills. Django. But someone also told me that it's DiCaprio's birthday today. So maybe even use a DiCaprio. So now I'm at a crossroads because as far as DiCaprio, I'd love to pick The Basketball Diaries, which is a really intense movie, but it's on Netflix, and Django Unchained.
You know what I think would be a fun thing to talk about?
What?
Titanic.
Is Titanic online though? Look at Gilbert. He's like, not Titanic.
You know who ate Gilbert Grape? I heard is a great.
We've already seen Gilbert Grape.
What about?
I'm aware. I'm very aware.
Catch Me If You Can.
What is it?
Catch Me If You
Catch Me If
Can.
You Can. It's good. That's good.
Fucking great.
Wait,
movie.
how about this? Let's go something else completely. You've seen Blue Ruin?
I love Blue Ruin.
Would that be a good choice?
Fuck yes.
All right.
Is that online?
Yeah, it's online.
That movie is fantastic.
What's it about?
Don't look it up. Just it's a movie.
Okay.
It's
It's
about
a revenge movie.
Yeah, it's a revenge movie.
Yeah, my
the
favorite.
synopsis. You know what's weird is the best movies on Netflix sometimes have the dumbest synopsises.
All right. Who do
Synopses?
you think would win in a fight? Jack from Titanic, the guy from Catch Me If You Can, or the kid from What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
So we're talking about all the different.
Kid from Gilbert Grape because he's got that strength, special strength.
Jack from Titanic is dead because he froze.
Yeah, but like if he was
The
still
kid
alive.
from Gilbert Grape is a kid, and what was the third one?
The Catch Me If You Can guy.
Catch Me If You Can, because he's clever as fuck.
Can we
He's
throw?
clever, but he
If we
doesn't
throw,
have passion like Jack.
Yeah, he fucking does.
if we throw Wolf of Wall Street Leo
got a
in,
heart.
he's all like hyped up on drugs.
Yeah,
and just like
which that's the question you should ask Twitter. Which of all of his roles, who would win in a fight?
Blood Diamond.
Yeah, let's do
Django.
that. And if all that you think it's Blood Diamond.
Blood Diamond because he's like a.
What about Cobb? What about Cobb from Inception?
Very
I
good
don't
point.
know. He would
Very
just
good point.
go to sleep.
He just cried about his dead wife. Dead wives. And that is another And that is another Archie screenplay. We'll see you guys next week. Everyone go check out Blue Ruin. That's BLUERUIN. Blue Ruin. We'll be talking about it next week. See you guys then. Peace.
We'll be right back.